بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. Inshallah, we are going to take Manasik al-Hajj in brief and what we are trying to learn and the conditions. In this tape, we are going to focus on what you need to do. Yes, we will a little bit mention some introduction about the conditions, but we assume at this level you are planning to go for Hajj inshallah. So we are not going to talk about the conditions. We are not going to talk about the detailed laws of representation and representee and this and that. We are just going to skip all that, briefly mention few things, and then immediately start talking about the journey. What this tape will answer your question. What do I need to do in order to achieve my Hajj correct, from starting from my journey from Ihram to the last rituals of Hajj al-Tamattu at the end, when I'm done completely, when I pelt the shaitan, last pelting, and I leave on the 12th of the Hajj from Mina. So from entering Makkah to exiting Makkah, what do I need to do in order to make my Hajj a proper valid Hajj? So inshallah, we have divided this session of Manasik al-Hajj into four sessions. Session number 1, we are going to talk about the introduction. Number 2, we are going to talk about the Umrah. Number 3, we are going to talk about the Hajj. And number 4, we are going to we will try to cover the philosophy of the Manasik al-Hajj, like what are these things, what do these like pelting the shaitan, what does pelting the shaitan reflect, what do the tawaf reflect, all these types of reflections and the lessons which we learn from Manasik al-Hajj. We are going to inshallah take that in session 4. So now inshallah we are going to start talking about the introduction. We will cover in this session Hajj is an obligation on every Muslim, the rewards of Hajj, conditions which activate the obligation of Hajj, state of Ihram. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حَجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. And pilgrimage to the house is incumbent upon men for the sake of Allah, upon everyone who is able to undertake the journey to it. And whosoever believes, then surely Allah is self-sufficient above any need of the worlds. So this ayat of the Quran tells us that Hajj is an obligation on whoever is able to perform it. And whoever is able to perform the Hajj and does not perform, then he is a disbeliever. So if he is a disbeliever, he is not going to fulfill his obligation. Who is going to harm? He is going to harm himself. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need your Hajj. You are the one who need this Hajj. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it obligation upon you. So abandoning Hajj is as abandoning prayer, fasting, khums, zakat, and other essential pillars of Islam. It is wajib. You have to perform it. If you don't perform it, then you have forsaken or abandoned one of the pillars of Islam. Some rewards of Hajj: closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His vast mercy, generosity, and His hospitality by being His guest in His symbolic house. Imagine you are guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What a great honor to be there in the presence of the holy lands, in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's house, symbolic house, because Allah does not live in that house, but it's a symbol that if people they want to come to me, they can come to me in my house, which I've made it for people to come and visit me. So this is a symbolic house, and it is an honor that Allah has made this station as one of the greatest doors of His generosity and hospitality. So if you are there, you arrive Mecca, you will feel that who am I that I have been honored to be guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where people they were deprived of from being guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hajj and Umrah, another benefits, both are one of the causes of the removal of the poverty and sins, increments and blessings in the wealth. So removal of the sins, removal of the poverty, increment in the blessings. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses your livelihood, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses your income, and of course by decreasing the losses also, that is a kind of blessing in income. Rewards and benefits with every step, every single step. The day you made an intention that I am inshallah going to go for Hajj, the first day you made that intention, the angels are, any movement you do, you go to get the ticket, you go buy your ihram, you go pay the money to the caravan leader, anything you are doing, you are getting reward after reward. Every step you take, you are benefiting from this step. So it is one form of jihad, self-restraint. Of course you are going to go, you are going to travel, you are going to go travel away from your beloved ones, away from your friends and family and children and spouse and all those people who are linked to you. You are going to go travel all the way transatlantic in order to be in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course that is by itself a jihad. Besides that, there are some difficulties and hardships. People, if they observe the patience, then they are considered mujahideen, or they are considered doing self-restraining from whatever makes them angry, whatever makes them disturbed. Remember that you are guest of Allah. All those other peoples are guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too. Don't expect other peoples to be same like you. If you are like but there are people, they are not educated the way you are educated. There are people, but maybe their faith, maybe their sincerity is stronger. Yes, if they do some things which reflect their ignorance, like hitting you with their elbows or pushing you, just tolerate. Do not. This is a test. There are lots of, inshallah, at the end we're going to talk more about these kind of things. Hajj and Umrah brings great rewards and benefits with every step. We mentioned that any wealth spent in the way of Allah is returned in multiplied by thousands. You spend a penny for Hajj, Allah will return that to you in thousands and thousands and thousands. Any wealth spent for the sake of Allah in Hajj is returned in thousands, with multiplied and returned to you in thousands. Conditions which activate the obligation. Hajj is obligation on every Muslim, but when does it become activated? When do you really practically need to perform Hajj? If a person reached the age of adolescence, I am not going to go into details, because these are you are now ready to go for Hajj. This film is made for people who are ready to go perform the Hajj. So that means you have reached the age of adolescence, you are sane, you are able financially, physically and social, all these kind of conditions you are fulfilling. I'll just go through these conditions quickly. Adulthood, that means you have reached the age of puberty. The girl reaches the age of puberty when she finishes 9 lunar birthdays. When she enters the 10th lunar calendar birthday, that means she has become she has reached the age of adolescence. And as far as the male, he reaches the age of puberty either by having wet dreams or ejaculation of the seminal fluid, or by growth of pubic hair on the pubic area, or if these one or two did not happen, then the third thing is when he reaches the age of 16th lunar calendar, 16th lunar birthday. That means he has finished 15 lunar birthdays. So number 1, adulthood. Number 2, sanity. Sanity is like if somebody has a periodic sanity, sometimes you'll see he's mashallah perfect. Sometimes you see he acts weird, he becomes crazy, he doesn't know what he's doing. So if this person had some bouts of insanity, then this person can go if he knows that he will be in the time of ihram sane. So if he becomes he's this labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and he becomes insane. In this case, he can appoint a representative in case if he goes through that kind of phase or that kind of bouts of insanity, then he has appointed someone that they can carry on the a'mal on his behalf. Ability, financial ability, you need to have. If we are traveling from United States, the average is $5,000. You need to have $5,000. Physical ability, you're not paralyzed, you can perform the rituals of Hajj. Socially, that means you are not you don't have anybody who's depending you, like your father, your like mother, your kids, your wife. There are people that are depending you, and you cannot dump your people, your family on other people. No, if there are people that are willing to take it by their hearts, by themselves, they want to take care of your kids and your family, yes, you can leave on them. But don't push on the people. No, I'm going to Hajj, I'm going to perform the rituals of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please take care of my family. No, 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 that's not right. If nobody's there, you cannot. If people they accept it, then you are going to carry sins on your shoulders. Why? Because there were people they didn't want to take, and you made them embarrassed, so therefore just be if you don't have anybody to take care of your family after in your absence, you don't have to go for Hajj. It's not wajib on you. And of course social also includes the any other commitments, like for example commitments in your community. There are obligations on you. You cannot leave and just go for Hajj without taking care of those commitments. Number 5, freedom from other obligations, like does not conflict with other obligatory responsibilities or an obligation which is more important. For example, job restrictions. When you apply for job, the company or the employer, there is an agreement that you and the employer, whenever you want to leave, you have to take permission. So you cannot impose the permission on your employer. No, I'm going to Hajj. If you'll not give me permission, you'll go to hell. Stop it. Stop it. Don't you talk about that language. No, you made an agreement when you start working in this job that the person, the in charge, if he gives you leave, you go. If he doesn't approve your leave, you are not obligated to go. And the same thing is for, you don't have to give resignation from your job. No, that is a kind of, because if you give your resignation, you will become in hardship. So that means you are not able to. So for example, job restrictions, saving someone's life, or taking care of his partner or family when no one else is available to take such responsibility. Another 6th condition, time, arrival before 9th Dhul Hajj to until 12th Dhul Hajj. You need to have this much time. This is the squeezed Hajj from 9 to 12. That means you don't arrive 9th Dhul Hajj noon time. No, you arrive before in a way that you can perform your Umrah at-Tamattu, and then 9th Dhul Hajj, no, before noon time, you can go Arafat and perform your Hajj at-Tamattu. Because the Hajj, real Hajj, is from 9th Dhul Hajj to 12th Dhul Hajj. After 12th Dhul Hajj, people are done. Security, this is one of the conditions. Security from danger during travel. His health, security on your health, security on your wealth, security on your dignity, or any type of danger. You have to be secure from it. If the safe path was unaffordable, then Hajj is not obligated. If you cannot find, like for example, if you don't find an airfare, you found a path by ship, or by car, but that route is dangerous, that route is difficult, that route causes hardship, so you don't have to go. The route is available, that's fine, so you don't have to go. Suppose if all the proper airlines are packed, the only airline is available, and then in that airline there might be trouble of any kind of problems, disturbance, or governmental issues, or any kind of issues which threatens your life, dignity, and your wealth or health, any type of situation, then Hajj is not wajib on you. Financial ability. When inconsistency happens between Hajj and marriage, or buying a house, or any other important issues, then if a person can wait without any difficulty or hardship, then Hajj takes precedence. So precedence, that means Hajj precedes. If you, like many times say, oh no, I want to get married, wait, are you going to get married in this year, the year do you have $5,000 and you are able financially, socially, everything, just marriage? First of all, we say, if a person can hold himself from falling into haram, then he doesn't, then he has to go for Hajj. But let's say the youth cannot hold himself, cannot abstain from haram, then he has to get married. Now, the second question is he going to get married in this year, the year of ability? If yes, then let him get married. If no, he's going to get married next year, then he has to go Hajj this year. Unless if he's collecting, like in many Middle Eastern countries, the marriage is so expensive, and collecting that amount to get married requires like ages. So suppose if you go Hajj this year, your marriage will be delayed 1 or 2 years, and it's very difficult for you. You cannot hold yourself, you cannot tolerate, like there are people, their hormones are pumping from their nostrils and everywhere. So therefore, if somebody has this kind of circumstances, he cannot wait, he may fall in haram easily, then in this case he has to wait and get married, and then go Hajj whenever he is able to. If he had enough money for Hajj, but it was given as a loan to another person, and he was unable to retrieve it, then he is not obligated for Hajj. Yes, if it was possible to sell the loan for a lesser amount without being in hardship, then he must sell his debt to someone else. So you gave loan to Mr. A, $5,000. You want to go Hajj, he cannot give you back. So what happens? You come to Mr. B and tell him that, Mr. B, I have some money. With Mr. A. Give me $5,000 and take the $5,000 from that person whenever he's able to give you, and make a contract properly. What happens here? The issue here is that Mr. B says, no, I want my money. Now you put a tempting offer. What's that? Tell him, okay, how about you give me $4,500 and you collect from Mr. A $5,000, the whole loan. If he agrees, then that's it. And if you are able to, without any hardship, then you have to sell your loan. If there is a buyer for your loan, you sell your loan in a lesser price and go for Hajj. The intention in general, the intention is in the heart. The intention basically in the heart is enough. Though saying it verbally is recommended and assures whatever is intended in the heart. Intention, you don't need to say, I am performing this and that and for this. That's already inside your heart. So intention is awareness of what you are doing. Awareness of what you are doing, why you are doing. Answering to all this, what, why is your intention. Let's say, for example, your tawaf. What are you doing? I am doing circumambulation or tawaf around the Kaaba. Why are you doing? Because it's a part of Hajj. Why are you doing this? Because it's a part of Umrah al-Tamattu. Why are you doing it? Because it's a part of Hajj al-Tamattu. Why are you doing this Hajj al-Tamattu? Because it's my first Hajj, Hajjat al-Islam, and it's wajib on me. Wujuban, qurbatan. And why are you doing this wajib? To achieve the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this what and why's? And if you answer these, then the niyat is already, the intention is already in your heart. But if you don't answer these questions, that means you are heedless and you don't have any intention. So intention is your awareness of what you are doing and why you are doing. That's enough. It's recommended to say it verbally. That is recommendation, to emphasize on the intention. It should be composed of the following: the type of the act. What are you doing? Whether it is a contract of ihram, as in this case, because we are starting to talk about ihram, or tawaf, circumambulation around the Kaaba, or salat of tawaf, or sa'i, the walk between Safa and Marwa, or taqsir, cutting off your hair to unlock your ihram, or staying in Arafat, or Muzdalifah, or Mina. What are you doing? The question is, what are you doing? Pelting the stones to the pillars, or sacrificing the goat, shaving the head, all this. What are you doing? It's in your heart. Then what is the purpose of this act? Is it for Umrah or for Hajj? What type of Umrah or Hajj is it? For example, it is Hajj al-Tamattu or Hajj al-Ifrad, or Umrah al-Tamattu or Umrah al-Ifrad. And what type of Hajj is it? For example, it is your first Hajj, Hajjat al-Islam, or it is qada, or recommended making up. You messed up in one Hajj and now you are making another Hajj, or it's a recommended Hajj, or it is on behalf of someone. So it is on behalf of someone, then the person should be presented in the heart or in the intention. So if you are performing Hajj on behalf of someone, then make that person inside your heart. Let him be always inside your heart. You don't have to say, I am performing the Hajj on behalf. It's recommended. But as long as he's inside your heart, why are you doing all this? Then that's all what it counts. Sincerity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. Not to show off. I've gone to 20 hajjs, I've gone to 15 hajjs, I've gone to... Kiss your hajjs goodbye. Many people, they say that, and they have this show off to show the people that I am a Mr. Super Hajji, you know. Come on, you did for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the day of judgment, this person comes and asks, oh God, where are my hajjs? Well, you did not do hajj for me. You did for fulan, 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 and they praise you. Oh, fulan hajji has done 15 hajj, fulan hajji. So you got your reward. What do you want from me? I don't have anything to give you. You did the hajj for those people. You're blabbing about your hajj every time. Well, take it from them. When he looks at those people, they're burning in the hell, or they're by themselves, they're desperately in need of somebody helping them. Here he regrets. So just do the hajj for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and keep it for yourself. And for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No need to brag about your hajj. Now we come to the manasik al-umrah. Manasik al-umrah starts from a very important act, which is entering the state of ihram, becoming muhrim. Becoming muhrim, that means prohibiting on yourself 25 things while the status of ihram. That is very important. Prohibiting yourself from 25 things. What are these 25 things? We are going to talk. So let me just briefly say umrah. First of all, we are going to do umrah, because what we are planning to do here is we are obligated to do something which is called hajj tamattu. In hajj tamattu, two things are wajib: umrah, short pilgrimage, and hajj, major pilgrimage. The Prophet ﷺ did like this. He interlinked his fingers and he said, دخلت العمرة في الحاج. The umrah has entered in hajj and has become a part of hajj. That means if we are living, those people who are living away from Mecca, then they have to perform hajj tamattu. Their duty is to perform hajj tamattu. There's hajj al-ifrat, hajj al-qiran. I'm not going to talk about it because this is focused for people. This is focused for people who are performing hajj at-tamattu. And hajj at-tamattu has its umrah with it, umrah at-tamattu. So hajj and umrah, they're all together. So this is what we are going to talk about. First, you travel. You need to arrive Mecca in the state of ihram, like muhrim. So I'll not say state of ihram, I'll just shortly say muhrim, becoming muhrim, coming out from an ihram. So number one is ihram. If you mess up in your ihram intentionally, kiss your hajj goodbye, the whole hajj, because becoming muhrim is a very important part. And you need to be very careful. Most of the people, they make serious mistakes in ihram, becoming muhrim, and we have to take them out of Mecca. And there's so much difficulty. It's not easy to get out of Mecca. Mecca is sieged, surrounded. Only Persian Gulf people can leave Mecca. The people from other countries, foreign countries, non-Persian Gulf countries, they cannot leave Mecca. So Mecca is not, you cannot easily get out Mecca. The Mecca, Medina, they are fenced, you know, surrounded by the securities. And Jeddah airport for Hajjaj, the pilgrimage airport, also is fenced, surrounded, only for Hajj. So the bottom line is that you cannot easily leave Mecca. So just please focus on ihram. We tell many of the Hajjaj, become muhrim properly, and once you enter Mecca muhrim, inshallah we'll be able to patch up a little bit here and there, things, errors and mistakes. But ihram, please do not ever make mistakes in ihram. That's major. Become muhrim properly. Do yourself a favor, you know, upon us and upon yourself, that become muhrim properly. The reason I'm emphasizing, because many people, they mess up with their ihram. That's why we're going to talk a lot about ihram, because this is a very important issue here. So number one, ihram, entering the state of ihram. I'm prohibiting myself 25 things. Then what? Number two, lock your ihram. You made your intention. You have to lock it by saying labbaik, 4 labbaiks. We are going to talk about it. After that, you enter Makkah. When you enter Makkah, you do tawaf around the Kaaba. Again, number one, ihram, labbaik, tawaf, After tawaf, it's always salat al-tawaf, always salat al-tawaf, then walk between Safa and Marwa, sa'i, and then what happens after walking between Safa and Marwa? You unlock your ihram by cutting off your hair. This is called taqsir. You cut off your hair, things which were haram while ihram becomes halal, except for the things which are permanently haram before ihram and after ihram. So things which were forbidden on you while ihram becomes halal on you. Unlock yourself from that limitation, from that lock. So this is basically manasik umrat at-tamattu. This is what you'll do. First you enter Mecca. Before entering Mecca, muhrim, labbaik, tawaf, salat al-tawaf, sa'i, walk between Safa and Marwa, and cut off your little bit hair. You are unlocked. Then we come to Hajj, pilgrimage, which starts, you will become muhrim and say labbaik, and then start your journey to Arafat, Muzdalifah, Mina, pelting the shaitans, rituals of Makkah, and that's the whole Hajj in a very brief. Now we are going to take all these actions one after another. Let's talk about the major issue, ihram. So number one, we are going to talk about the intention. The intention of ihram. As mentioned previously, here we will give an example of someone who is a first timer. First time he goes for Hajj. What will he say? You can say the intention in any language. I told you, you can say in spiritual language, in your mind, whatever language. We are writing here in English so that people can understand what he has to put inside his mind. If he says this word, it's recommended. We said verbally it's recommended because it emphasizes your niyat, your intention in your heart. What do you say? I am entering the state of ihram or status of ihram to perform the rituals of Umrah, of Tamattu, for Hajj of Tamattu, for Hajjatul Islam, not Hujjatul Islam. Hujjatul Islam is scholar. Hajjatul Islam, the first Hajj, as an obligation to achieve the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, this is the niyat. What are you doing? I am entering the state of ihram. Why? To perform the rituals of Umrah al-Tamattu. Why? Because it's a part of Hajj al-Tamattu. Why? Because it's my first Hajj, Hajjatul Islam. Why? Because it's an obligation to achieve the nearness of Allah. This is all what you're in mind. Next, we will lock. So ihram is a contract, a promise. The ihram is contract, covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to avoid 25 things which are prohibited during the state of ihram. This is done by two stages. Intention we made. Now we need to lock the intention. Now if somebody says I am becoming muhrim, he is not yet muhrim. He can do any things which are prohibited by the muhrim. But once he says labbaik, locked himself. This is his lock. Labbaik. 4 labbaiks are wajib. Labbaik, 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 labbaik. The way to say it is labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. This is wajib. Once you do this, you are in. And innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka labbaik is mustahab, recommended. So just focus on these 4 labbaiks. Make your intention, say 4 labbaiks, you are in a good shape. The problem is not saying this just. The problem is the miqat issue which you are going to talk. So you lock your ihram. The intention, we are going to continue. Common error. What is the common error? There's a problem. There are many manasik al-hajj, books of hajj, rituals of hajj, manasik al-hajj of the maraja. They are translated wrong, especially this ihram. English manasik al-hajj, they were translated from Urdu or Persian, and which were taken from Arabic. In Arabic, we call aqd niyatul ihram. Aqd means tying something, tie, the intention. Aqd niyatul ihram. The Urdu people, they have this tying band, like tying ihram. So they translate tying. The English, when they translated, they said, I'm wearing the ihram. That is wrong. Ihram is something, and wearing the attire of ihram is something. Wearing the attire of ihram, it's a part. And in fact, not every muhrim wears the attire of ihram. Like female, they don't have an obligation attire because they can become muhrim in their attire. Yes, as long as it's not fancy and glittering and all those kind of things. But their women's attire of women ihram is same their regular attire. But for men, since men are not allowed to wear stitched clothes, therefore they have to take off all the stitched clothes. In this case, they have to wear something which is not stitched. So it is obligation to wear this attire of ihram, and one of the obligation is to cover the part. Why? Because you have to avoid one of the 25 things, which is do not wear the attire of ihram. So you are not wearing attire of ihram, you cannot go perform the Hajj naked. Come on, that's outrageous. You have to wear something. So you are wearing these 2 towels or 2 pieces of cloth covering your private parts from navel to knee, and wearing the upper part covering your both shoulders. We're going to talk about that in details inshallah. But here the common error, when you look into the manasik al-hajj and it says the intention of wearing ihram, stop, abort, abort, abort. That's wrong. Common error. In many translations, ihram refers to wearing the ihram. This is completely wrong. There is a huge difference between wearing the attire of ihram and becoming muhrim by making an agreement with Allah. Becoming muhrim is entering a state where you don't wear all these kind of things. It's not just wearing the ihram. No, wearing the ihram is different. Wearing ihram must be done before making the intention of ihram. And it is not necessary to wear the ihram on the miqat. Or for women. But for women, they don't have to wear ihram. But making the agreement or the contract or the covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must be done in miqat. It is very important. Now second part is to lock the ihram. Now in the salat, when we say I am offering salatul fajr 2 rakat qurbatillahi ta'ala, did you enter salat? No. When do you enter salat? When you say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar is rukun, takbiratul ihram. Takbiratul ihram, see ihram, it prohibits you from performing anything which invalidates the salat. Ihram. So it's a sacred status. So you say Allahu Akbar, now you are locked, you are in salat. And you come out how? By saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. By saying that, salam. Now what happens here? When you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, because saying salam, initiating salam in salat is prohibited. Intentionally, you cannot do it. Unintentionally, you have to do sujood sahu, 2 sujuds of sahu. So what happens here? But you have to come out of salah by committing one of the things. So after you have done tashahhud, last tashahhud, here you are permitted to say salam in order to exit the salah. The same thing is in ihram. When you become muhrim, you enter the status of ihram, you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, you are in. How do you come out? By committing something which invalidates the ihram. Cutting the hair invalidates the ihram. So but when you are done with your manasik, tawaf, sa'i between Safa and Marwa, then you do something which invalidates in order to exit the ihram. So you lock your ihram with labbaik, you come out from your ihram by cutting off your hair. Talbiyah is like takbiratul ihram in salat. It locks the intention of ihram and seals the contract of ihram with Allah. The same way the first takbir of salah locks a person inside the salat and unlocks with the taslim at the end. Here it is unlocked by cutting off the hair, taqsir or halq, shaving. In Hajj you have either you do taqsir or halq, shaving. But in Umrah you have to do taqsir only. Umrah al-tamattu'. Without the talbiyah, a person does not become muhrim. He can still perform the prohibitions of ihram, but once he says the talbiyah, he becomes locked completely. Talbiyah must be in Arabic language. One technical point: the whole manasik al-hajj, you can do it in any language except for 2 things. It needs to be in Arabic, and you need to make it correct, properly recited. What? Salat of tawaf, because it's a salat, and salah has to be in Arabic, and labbaik, talbiyah. These are the only 2. Wuquf bi Arafat, there is no vocal obligation. Muzdalifah, there is no vocal obligation. There are recommended du'as a lot. Intentions you can say in the heart, it's not wajib to recite. So the only thing you vocal it, or you say it you verbally, is labbaik Allahumma labbaik, 4 labbaiks, and the salat of tawaf. The whole rituals of Hajj have no verbal obligations in Arabic except for 2 things: talbiyah, salat of tawaf, and the contract of nadhr for ihram can be done in a native language. So ihram also, many ulama say it needs to be done in Arabic. Some of the maraja, they say even that you can say it in your language. What is nadhr? We are going to talk about it. In case if you are not going to become muhrim from the designated place, then this nadhr issue comes. We'll talk in detail inshallah in our next session. The word labbaik must be 4 times, and it should be said in the following form: labbaik Allahumma labbaik, لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك. Say it with me. لبيك اللهم لبيك. لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك. If people, they want to stop, then they have to silence the labbaik. They cannot say labbaika Allahumma labbaika. No. There are many people, they say it like that. That's wrong. If you say wrong labbaik, then you are not inside your ihram. You did not become muhrim. That's one of the major issues. So either you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Either you silence it, or the best thing is just to say it connected all. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. The meaning, here I am. Labbaik means here I am. Like you see in those Aladdin movie genies, when they friction the lamp, the genie comes out, he says labbaik shabbaik labbaik. I am. So labbaik means I am here at your service. Why do we say that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called us to come and visit him. It's an obligation. So I'm saying, yes, my Lord, I am here. Labbaik means, yes, here I am at your service. Oh Lord, here I am at your service. You have no partner. Here I am at your service. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. It is recommended to add innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka labbaik. The meaning, all praise and the bounty is yours. Innal hamda wan ni'mata is yours. And the kingdom too. Here there is no partner. La sharika laka labbaik. Here I am at your service. Laka labbaik. The attire of ihram. It is obligation for men only to wear two pieces. It is obligation for men only to wear two pieces. That means men. But women, they can perform the contract of ihram in their regular clothing as long as it is not beautifying. As mentioned before, that it is not ihram but attire of ihram. Ihram is entering the state of ihram. I am becoming muhrim. I am entering the state of ihram. Is a sacred contract or a covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is an independent obligation and has nothing to do with the intention of ihram. Wearing attire of ihram is something, and making the intention of ihram is something. There is no specific style to wear the attire for men, of course. As a matter of precaution, it is necessary that the piece of cloth worn round the waist should cover the portion from the navel to knee. From the navel to knee. The obligation part is just the private parts. You can wear a diaper type ihram, but no, it's as a matter of precaution. You just cover the navel to the knee. That's an obligatory precaution. And the other piece should cover both shoulders, arms, and a considerable part of the back. So a little bit back, arms. Yes, you don't have to keep the upper part 24/7 all the times. You can remove it. Hot weather, cold weather, this, that, restroom. You can remove. You don't have to super glue your ihram on your body. You can remove it. You can wear it. But most of the time, try to keep it on your body. As a matter of obligatory precaution, both the pieces must be worn before the intention of the contract and talbiyah. That means you cannot become muhrim in your regular attire. Obligatory precaution, wear the attire and then make your intention. See, that's a difference between ihram attire of ihram and status of ihram. The two pieces are the least. More can be worn. Suppose if it's cold weather, you can wear more than two pieces. The conditions of the attire of ihram is as same as the conditions of the attire of salat. In salat, from being halal, not stolen, and permitted, not usurped, pure, not najis, not gold and silk. Women should not wear silk while ihram too. Women, they can wear gold and silk, but in ihram, they cannot wear, because it's a beautifying thing, not part of non-edible animal, like lion, bear. It is better not to be from the skin or edible also. Skin of edible, it's better. I mean, you can wear sheep skin as long as it's slaughtered by the dhabiha, by the Sharia Islamic law. But it's better just don't wear animal things on your body, period, even the halal ones. The lower part should not be covering the body or revealing it. The lower, that means it's not transparent. You can, I mean, of course, I mean, if the cloth is transparent, it's like nothing. You're wearing nothing. Everything is appeared. I mean, you don't want to expose yourself. So it should be in a way. Yes, if you wrap it like 2-3 wrappings, you know, then the privates are not appeared. That's fine as long as it's covered. But if you wear in a way that everything is obvious, no, that's not accepted. If any part becomes impure, like if your ihram becomes impure, let's say this part became impure. You go and you just do like this, pour some water, rub it, and then squeeze it, and then pour some more water. If it was urine, you need to wash twice, and then squeeze it. So after removal of the particle of najasa, you can, this is same case in everywhere, ihram, non-ihram. This is the way how to purify your attire. So again, in case if it was not appeared, you pour some water on this najis part, you squeeze and drain all the water from the thing. If it's a little bit damp, that's fine. Pour another if it was urine, and that's it. First remove the particle of najasa, then purify your ihram. So that must be purified immediately. It is not obligatory to have clothes of ihram on all the time. There is no objection to its removal or changing it, whether necessary to do so or not. Unintentional violation. And with this we will end our session here. So what are these things which are prohibited? 25 things. 25 things. Yes, if somebody does one of these 25 things unintentionally, by forgetting, unknowingly, there's no penalty, inshallah, you're okay, except for 5 things. From 25 cases, 5 cases you do unintentionally, intentionally, you are done. You have just focus these. What are these 5 things? Of course, you don't commit all those kind of things, learn them, but these 5 things, don't you ever come close to them. These 5 cases. What are these 5 cases? Unintentional violation of ihram. Unintentional violation of ihram, all those 25 things, no problem. Oh, I forgot, no problem. Oh, I didn't know, no problem. But these 5, if you will tell me I forgot, I will tell you pay the penalty. If you'll tell me I didn't know, pay the penalty. So just note these 5 things, and try your best to not to forget this. If any of these acts are done while in the state of ihram, it will not draw a penalty if it was performed out of ignorance or forgetfulness. Those lists we are going to talk about that. Except in following cases. Number 1, if he forgets a tawaf in Hajj or Umrah. Remember, we have tawaf. Till he returns to his country and he has intercourse with his wife. Then we are looking at camels, perhaps cows, because intercourse draws camels. Stay away from the camels, So this guy, come on. I mean, first of all, you are going Mecca and you forget tawaf. You forget the pilgrimage, the whole house of God. The reason the pilgrimage was considered pilgrimage, because you are visiting symbolic house of God, and you don't do tawaf, you forget the tawaf. That's major, So even if you come back, oh, I didn't do tawaf, any tawaf you don't do, still you are muhrim. You cannot unlock yourself from ihram before doing this tawafat and sa'i. If you do so, you are still muhrim. Even you shave all your head, you are still muhrim. That means if you have intercourse, you came back hometown. Yeah. So what will we do? Call somebody living in Mecca, your friends, there are many people, they live in Medina. Send them some money, tell them please go Mecca and do tawaf on my behalf. Let them take care of this, So that's why you will be relieved from the ihram. Otherwise, if you forget to do the tawaf and you come back home, you are still muhrim. This is number 1. If he forgets number 2, if he forgets part of sa'i, Safa and Marwa, walk between these 2 mountains in Umrat al-Tamattu, and has intercourse with his wife, considering himself relieved of ihram, he said that, okay, I did the tawaf, alhamdulillah. Come on, my wife, let's go home. And they did not wait. Wait. Oh, after when you can, did you do sa'i? No, why should I do sa'i? Safa and Marwa, walk between. You guys haven't finished. Oh my goodness, we did this. Camel, cow, one of those big animals, It's not just goat or sheep. Camels, they cost $5,000 and more, So just stay away from the camels. So considering himself relieved from ihram, he did not know. That's fine. You did it. There's a penalty on you. And the last 3 things, of course, these first and 2 things, mostly you will not do it. Forgetting tawaf, forgetting sa'i, you will not do that. Unless if the tawaf was invalid, you were doing tawaf and you broke a wind, your wudu became invalid, and you continued the tawaf, come on. that tawaf is invalid. Now if you come back home and you remember, oh my goodness, you're talking with your friend and oh my goodness, my wudu broke while I was doing tawaf. Stay away from the wife, stay away from all those 25 things. Let's see somebody, to fulfill those kind of makeup on your behalf. So number 3, if he needlessly stroking his head and beard, and hair or 2 drop off. Some hair, they drop off, they came in the hand. Penalty. Of course, the penalty of unintentional dropping of hair is hand full of food, rice or flour or whatever. It's better when you come back from Hajj, just give a sack full of rice, to the poor, because this bag might have like hundreds of fists of food, or let's say 20 or whatever. Just give, because if you do like this, you're hair in my hand, or you're scratching your hair in my hand unintentionally. Of course, if you intentionally pluck off your hair, then there is a goat and a sheep and the bigger ones, but this is unintentional, so that's why there is penalty. You cannot say I didn't know. No, there is penalty. Out of ignorance, he applies oil on his body. This guy, Mr. Muscular, he thinks that he's wearing ihram, his ihram is going to fall, there are people that are going to watch, and there's an opportunity to show his body. He oiled his body. He oiled all his body, and now, I didn't know. There's penalty. There's penalty in this case. The hunting and eating the hunt. This Mr. Hunter, he went there and he hunted an ostrich or whatever, and a turkey or a deer, and he brings. The people, you hunted, there's a penalty on you. Okay, this guy now is depressed, disappointed, he will have to pay penalty, and these guys, they start to munch this hunt. Another guy comes, you guys have to pay penalty. It's not just the hunter, it's the hunter and those who eat the hunt also. So you guys also, so this kind of thing, you don't eat hunt, you don't hunt there. Now we'll just briefly mention these 25 things. What are these 25 things which are prohibited? Land hunting, sea hunting, it's okay, you can fish, you can just go do fishing. Sexual intercourse, camel, things with camel, kissing a woman, of course with lust, and if there is an ejaculation, then that's a camel too. Touching a woman with lust, if there is touching a woman without lust also. Touching a woman, touching your wife without lust is okay. Touching other women with lust, without lust, it's not okay. And if some ejaculation, any ejaculation, camel, immediately, camel pops up on your face. Looking at a woman and flirting with her, wife is, many people say wife is haram. She's haram, that doesn't mean that she's divorced. No, she's haram. You cannot have sex or any kind of sexual, fulfill your sexual desires with her, any kind of lustful experience with her. She's still your wife. In fact, nobody is more prior to take her in tawaf, because tawaf people, they touch, they accidentally hit. So you hold your wife and you do tawaf with her. So that holding is non-lustful holding. You you help her cut the hair also. You're touching her, but you're not touching her with lust. Lust is haram. She's not divorced. She's still your wife, but lust is haram with her. Masturbating, of course, camel, immediately, without any doubt. Reciting marriage contract. Two people, they know each other there. They came to Sheikhna, we want to recite the marriage contract. The Sheikh recites marriage contract. Another Sheikh comes, why did you recite the marriage contract? So the marriage, not just the marriage contract is haram. You get penalty. Witnesses, also those who witness the marriage contract, they are also in it. Husband and wife, everybody's in it. Using perfume. We are going to talk a little bit about these things. Perfume also is forbidden. Wearing stitched cloth, we mentioned, by men. Using antimony or what they say, eyeliner, black eyeliner is forbidden. Other than black eyeliner, there's a talk, we'll talk about it. Looking into the mirror for beautification, but if you're driving, you can look into the mirror in order to safe drive. But no, looking into the mirror like you have like this hair, long hair, you go for Hajj, you become like monster. You become like monster, and here in this case, like the dry air and everything, it's all messed up, it's all miserable condition. So this guy suddenly looks into the mirror, he looks himself, he doesn't recognize, who's this guy? It's you. Oh my goodness, do I look this kind of horrible, like a horror face? Don't you do anything. Don't you try to. There are people, they're youth, they'll try to just adjust like that. Don't you touch your hair, leave it like that, no need to. Yes, if it's in your eye, you want to move it, that's something else, but don't beautify yourself. The best thing is, reduce your hair, don't shave, don't completely shave, reduce your hair, because dry, wind, air, you become horrible. So before ihram you can do that, but while ihram you cannot beautify yourself, adjust yourself. Looking into the mirror, wearing shoes, slippers or socks which cover the leg for men. As you can see, there are some things for men, there are some things for women only, there are some things for both men and women. Lying, swearing like fusuq, by God, and bragging like by God this happened, by God that happened. And then quarreling, la wallah, wallah, like arguing. Killing insects found on human body, such as lice. If you have insect, just take it. Okay, Mr. Lice, go on, take your way. You cannot hit the lice or kill the lice or ant, these kind of, unless if they are dangerous animals. Beautifying oneself is prohibited, we mentioned. Applying oil, that Mr. Muscular guy who was applying, we said no. And this applying oil, even unintentionally, we mentioned, it draws a penalty. Removing hair from the body. Covering the head for males, or dipping one's body in water even for females. Immersing the body into the water, male and female both, they cannot. Immersing the head just for male, they cannot immerse. Yes, taking shower is okay, but we are talking about dipping your head completely, immersing it into the water. Traveling in shaded means of transportation for males. Bleeding one's body. Cutting nails, extracting a tooth, according to some scholars. Some scholars say you cannot extract the tooth while in ihram, but some scholars, they say you can. Carrying arms, carrying the weapons, you cannot carry while ihram. Yes, if there is a danger in traveling, then there are some exceptional cases, but optional, if you have an option, no, you cannot carry. And the 25th is the uprooting the grass of the sacred land. Haram, as we will see inshallah, haram is the sacred land which includes Makkah, Muzdalifah, Mina. In these places you cannot uproot the trees, you cannot uproot the grass of the sacred lands. And these are the 25 things for prohibited. Some are for male, some are for female, some are for both. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.